Hello YouTube! Today's a very special day for me, so I wanted to do a deck profile, an up-to-date version of Beelzemon. This is one of my favorite decks of all time in Digimon. I like Lightsworns and Yu-Gi-Oh! I like milling, I like graveyard stuff, so I love Beelzemon. Now, I'm picking this deck because it's a deck that if you take this list, you can play it in the EX4 regionals coming up and do well. But you can also play this list in BT13 format as it is intended to counter some of the BT13 strategies and do well against things like Shine Greymon that are going to be everywhere. So I hope you guys enjoy the deck profile. Do let me know what you think in the comment section below. Of course, like and subscribe. Turn on notification on Smash Potatoes. That way you know when all these amazing digital videos come out. Hope you guys enjoy the deck profile. For the longest while, the egg of choice has been Pokemon on the leash and mill 2 cards. It's really good on your turn if you just need a pocket deletion and mill cards, but it's also giving you some interaction on your opponent's turn. If they kill your guy, you mill 2 cards. Maybe it puts you back in the game or mills something really crazy. That's all very possible. So I like 4 copies of Pokemon. We don't play the stack version, this deck not really. On to the rookies, 4 of the really broken Hitmon. If you have 20 cards in trash when attacking, you can warp into a Beelzemon in your trash for 3 cost. Very good card. And then when you mill, you pop a 3. It's mandatory, unfortunately. You can't like choose to not do it. So if it pops another like Hitmon or something, you know, on deletion effects, feels really bad. But otherwise, it's fine. Pretty good card. Speaking of on deletion Hitmons, we're on 4 copies. This card, if anything, is more important now than ever before because EX2 Hitmon, this card, is at 1. This card lets you mill up to 3 cards when it's milled from deck. This just lets you mill 3 cards. This deck is about recycling this card now, making sure you can mill as much as possible to get you to your end game a little bit faster. So very good card. And then this, you can also play it to add an Imako Beelzemon. Although I'm gonna be real, ever since it got limited, I think I've played it maybe like 6 times in 50 matches. You really want to just mill it or stack it to your deck with Imako so that you can mill it. The 3000 heritable also comes up, I guess, so that's come up more than actually hard playing it, which I guess is fine. And then the last rookies we play are 2 Impacts Antibody. It's not a bad card where it's on play when edge evolving, discards an option and brings back any card basically from trash to hand. That's really powerful because it recycles whatever combo piece you need at the moment. And then when attacking, you trash the top 2 cards of your deck. This is the only card in the deck that has the inheritable that lets you trash 2 cards when attacking. We don't play any other of those cards because it's not the stack version of the deck, but we have to acknowledge that, you know, having an extra rookie in the deck is good. Imp X is just the best one, and sometimes this doesn't even come up. It comes up, so that's pretty cool. Now I'm on the champions, and we're playing 4 copies of Wizardmon. Wizardmon, when milled, gains a memory, so it's really good. It's when attacking, also can stack a card to your deck, something that you can mill, potentially. So that does come up here and there sometimes. And then the other champion we play are 4 copies of Witchmon, when evolving mill 3, and then the plus 2000 DP inheritable. I think the plus 2000 DP inheritable is actually really useful in this format. There's a lot of big bodies in security, like Black or Gray X, Gaiomon. You know, there's big potential bodies in security. So having Witchmon to give you some extra power can come in handy. Making your start deck Beelzemon 14,000 is pretty good. And if that's not enough power for you, we do play 4 copies of Belstarmon for ultimates. It also has an inheritable plus 2,000, which is good, but it's really here for its other effect, its main effect. When Digivolving, you mill 3, and then if it dies and you have 10 or more cards in trash, you can bring back a Beelzemon. This is only on the turn it evolves, so it forces your opponent to kind of not deal with it for a turn unless they can bounce it or whatever. And then you bring back a Beelzemon if they kill it. Otherwise, it's just going to stay on the board, and the next turn you'll probably evolve into a 6. So Belstarmon here, very good card. We love to see it as many times as possible. Now, with that out of the way, we move on to the Megas. The Megas, we play 4 copies of this Beelzemon. I still stand by the fact that this Beelzemon is very broken. You guys know what Wolf Lightsworn Beast is, right? Yu-Gi-Oh fans, it brings back a card, it brings this back itself when you mill it. Well, when you mill this, brings back an Hitmon. It's even better. There's no reason not to play 4 of it. In addition to that, when you evolve, you mill 2 cards and pop something, and when you attack, you mill 2 cards and pop something. So this card gives you removal just by having it on the field, and it brings you Hitmon back, like BT1 Hitmon, or BT2 Hitmon, I guess, that mills 3 on deletion. Very good card. Very good card, or any other Hitmon you need at the moment. It can't bring back Imp X, but who really cares about that? So 4 copies of this, I think, is mandatory, in my opinion. Then we play 2 starter deck Beelzemon. This is the big boss monster Beelzemon when evolving mill 4, and then all turns if a card is milled, you get a memory for every 10 cards in trash. This combos really well with the Impmon that mills 3 on deletion, because if they pop that without popping this, you mill some cards, you gain some memory. It could pass over the turn, which is pretty crazy. Also gets Sec +1 when you mill cards once per turn, so that's also pretty fine. So that's your big boss monster. Now, we do play a secondary boss monster that is level 6 besides the endgame monsters. And this deck now focuses a lot on 3 copies of Beelzemon or Belstarmon, depending on who you are. This card is very, very powerful. And I think it is so good now that EX2 Hitmon is at 1 because you need more mill cards, and Beelstar gets you that. So this card costs 13 to play, but reduces the cost by 4 for every 10 cards in trash. That's good. As an all turns effect, when a card is milled once per turn, bring back an Hitmon, it gets Rush. That's very, very powerful. And also opponent's turn when they attack, you mill a card. So that could lead to some combos, right? However, the biggest point of this Beelzemon is you either bring back the Star Deck Impmon and 20 cards in trash, or you bring back this Impmon. Because this will allow you to constantly just keep crashing, mill 3, bring one back, keep crashing, mill 3. It makes up for the fact, to an extent, that the EX2 Impmon is limited by allowing you to recycle your Impmons. Another reason why we play this Beelzemon F4 is so that we recycle this Impmon, so we can just keep crashing and keep milling cards. Now I think you guys understand how the deck works. The whole point is to just get as many of these to die as possible, mill cards, and then finish off your opponent with your boss monsters. Anyway, I think Beelstar is incredibly valuable. So many games in this deck I've won just because Beelstar is on the field and doing things. Also forces your opponent to deal with it. So the card is very, very, very powerful. Now, for something that you people might disagree with, but I'm going to show you anyway, we play 2 Digimon in the deck. One is Beelzex, one is Blast Mode. Now, I know that some people play one Blast Mode and it's okay. I don't think that's pretty foreign. But the one Beelzex might be a little bit of an odd choice. Let me explain this to you. In the deck, every card you play, except for these 2 cards, help you accelerate your game state. Literally every single card in the deck does it, except for these 2. These 2 cards, besides Beelstar, I guess, or whatever, are your win buttons. And that's all they're there for. This win button burns security, this win button attacks for game. Why would you risk drawing them early on or milling them early on, you know, in greater numbers? You know what I mean? Like, what ended up triggering this change is there are multiple hands where I would draw like both of these or 2 Beelzex after Mulligan. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I just lose this game, pretty much. So that's the reason I cut both the boss monsters down to 1. They don't help you until the very last turn of the game, usually. And then they win the game for you. And by the time you get there, they'll be milled. And if they're in security, they're probably in trash, usually. So that's why we do that. So I hope that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense to you, let me know in the comments. Now we're going to move on to Tamers, and we're playing 4 copies of the Iron Mako, the one that stacks a card when you evolve, gain a memory. And on play, go top 4 cards, add a Digimon to your hand. That's what the card does. It's pretty good. Now we go into options. We obviously play 4 copies of Death Slinger because this card is legal in non-Ultimate Cup format. When you mill it, gain memory. It's a 4-cost removal card that pops a 4 or lower. And for every 10 cards in trash, you increase that level by 1. So Death Slinger is obviously a really powerful card. Understandably why it's at 1 in an Ultimate Cup format, but for regionals and BT13, this is definitely a 4 of, for sure. Another card that's a 4 of, for sure, are Rivals Barrages. If you mill it, you put it on the field with delay, and then you can crack it later to grab a purple Digimon or Tamer. And if you just activate it or flips in security, it pops the Digimon with the highest level. If it's a tie, you get to pick. So you get to actually get some good removal out of this card, or good toolboxing, whatever you need. That card is there for it. We play 1 copy of Calling from the Darkness because it's limited to 1 and it adds back your combo pieces. No reason not to play it. The last 3 cards of the deck go to 3 Darkness Wave. This card is very good. Again, because EX2 Hitmon is limited, we need more ways to mill 3 cards. Darkness Wave lets you do that. It also gives you value if you have Beelzemon in the field, Star Deck Beelzemon, or Beelstar, because you either get memory back or you bring back an Hitmon. And it costs 1. And usually you mill a memory card and then it's free. So Darkness Wave, very powerful. The alternative card you could play in this stead is Mist Memory Boost. However, I like this card a lot more for 2 reasons. First of all, it's 3 cards you mill instead of 2. That's a very powerful effect. And the second reason why is because this actually activates Insecurity. Unlike Mist Boost, which just puts itself on a delay on the field. So if they hit this Insecurity and you have like a star deck Beelzemon on the field, well, they probably didn't see that coming. You mill 3 cards, you gain memory, you probably just passed over the turn, and then you can go ahead and win the game next turn. So Darkness Wave is actually a very strong card. What I will say though is you need to be doing some kind of mental inventory when you're playing this deck. I talked about this on stream, so I'll give you guys the cliff notes of this. You need to pay attention to the cards you mill. You need to pay attention to the cards that you bottom deck with things like Iron Mako or whatever. You have to pay attention to all the cards you've seen. If you've been through most of your deck and you don't see the cards like Darkness Wave, for instance, maybe you've seen 1, there's a good chance that your Darkness Waves are in Security. If they are in Security, you need to manage your deck size properly. Because if you have a small deck and they hit a Darkness Wave in Security, you might actually mill out and you auto lose the game. So it's important to keep all that in mind and prepare for worst case mill out scenarios, especially because you play things like Pokemon. You need to be prepared to not mill out on your opponent's turn. So it's very important that you manage your resources effectively and you take mental inventory of what you mill, what you reveal, what's in your hand, and all that stuff to try to determine what's in your Security. And that's really all you can do. So that is it for the deck profile. Let's just finish up. Alright guys, that's Beelzemon. That is Beelzemon for both EX4 and BT13. The deck's a lot of fun. I really love playing it, and I think it's perfect for the current format we're in right now, given what we have to work with. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'll see you later. Bye!